your song. I walk with the glory of kings. Enough. I had enough. More than enough, I say.
The National Ifa Festival is happening here in sweet Trinidad, and this morning, to give us insights on the significance of the spiritual event, we are joined by Chief Shaka Alexander to give us some more details. Good morning and welcome to the Now Once More.
Good morning, thank you.
Now, first off, in terms of heritage, culture, and the depth of what this festival is really about, give us a brief history of what the Ifa Festival should represent.
Now, the Ifa Festival, it is based on the Yoruba way of life called Ifa. Ifa is the cosmology. Ifa is the way of life that the Yoruba people practice their spirituality. And it stems from the worship of Olodumare and the veneration of Orisa and ancestors. Now, when we say Ifa, it simply means what the Creator says about mankind, says about the existence of all things before, present, and after. So this festival itself, it is to celebrate the word Ifa, to celebrate the Orisa, which we call Orunmila, who is called Ibikeji Olodumare, second in command to Olodumare, the one whom helps mankind to decode the messages of Ifa to mankind. Now, it is important because all of us have a specific path. All things have a genesis. And it is true understanding our individuality, true connecting with the divine. It's how we are able to understand our pathway.
Purpose.
You understand? So
function.
Ifa knows even you before you knew yourself. Ifa knows what would happen tomorrow or even the next tomorrow, because there's a saying that we know it today. We could remember what happened yesterday, but we don't know what would happen tomorrow. So it's important for adherents of Ifa to constantly consult. In fact, go to our spiritual source to find out what our path would be. And very much as a society, when sometimes we are faced with a lot of problems, we often don't see a solution. But us Ifa, Orisa devotees, our source is consulting with Ifa to find out what would happen. And that would save us, from the plethora of problems that we face as a society.
Now, what you unraveled for us there sounds like a number of things that we have to do. If we're talking past, present, and future, if we are talking about connecting with spirituality, I'm hearing process, I'm hearing a multitude of activities, and I'm hearing that it is quite inclusive from what you're describing. How will the festival actually be executed? Because from what I understand, it has technically already begun.
Right, so basically the process to have such a festival, it would take different components to come together.
Right.
One of them is, it is community. There must be community involvement. There must be elders. There must be junior ones. So it's when the community comes together, we are able to celebrate. Now we have whom we would call elders.
Right.
And they must give, that support for something like this to happen. And when we do that, we come, we go to our Babalawo, which is the spirit he will head, and we all sit and we cast Ifa, we consult Ifa to know what this festival would bring to us as a people.
Okay.
And even as a community, what message the divine has for us as a community to know how we should live for the next cycle, whether there would be prosperity for us, whether there would be hardship, we would know. And if there is not anything pleasing, we would get guidance on how to navigate through the uncomfortable situation.
Well, that's relieving. At least there is some sort of plan. And in that case, the involvement of the youth, I imagine, will come in the community part of things, which is culminating on the 7th of June. So what does that day look like?
Now, that day, it's a day of activity. But the main thing is venerating that energy, venerating Olodumare, venerating Orunmila, venerating other Orisa, veneration of our ancestors. Now that day we plan to gather at a point in Port of Spain where we have a sacred tree. It's called the Igiapwe. And it's sacred to us because it holds a lot of spiritual significance.
Okay.
So we would go there, offer libation, offer prayers, call on the positive energies to come, stand with us, and to assist us to go forward. Now we would have a procession as well. Now this would be with song, dance, drumming, and we're heading from the Botanical Gardens straight down to Woodford Square. Why Woodford Square is symbolic? It is a point in this country where a lot of conversation, a lot of revolutionary talks had happened, and we plan to utilize that space, invoke the positives to take reign in this land so that we as a people could go forward in grace and prosperity.
I'm not surprised by Woodford Square being involved at all. It's almost logical. But because it's a festival, I know that you said this is the culmination. There are other ways that we can get involved beyond that date. Am I correct? How else can we connect through the Orisa faith?
Now, there are many. In fact, the great thing about our way of life in this country, there are many temples, there are many devotees, and if it's one thing, we often know that those who give thanks today shall receive another blessing tomorrow. So throughout a year, there are activities, there are programs from the IOC Haiti to ensure that the veneration of Ifa is held at a high standard, you know. So we look forward to meeting on the 7th and engaging the community to make this Trinidad and Tobago a better place.
Ultimately, the goal, no matter where you stay.
That is the ultimate goal, through the guidance of Ifa, to make this place a better space. Because again, with the knowledge of Ifa, we are able to address problems, even with crime, even with deviance, even with a lot of issues. When we address it spiritually, it's when we could have success. Because a lot of people fail to acknowledge that before things manifest in the physical realm, it happens in the spiritual realm first. That's why some of us would have dreams, and sometimes we don't even understand what we are seeing in our dreams. But when those things happen, the good thing is we are able to consult our source to know what we are seeing in the spiritual realm and how we can address it.
Well, Chief, I am appreciative of the insight you shared with us, and I look forward to unraveling those dreams and what is to come in the future. For now, we encourage persons to join the actual Chief and others who will be heading to Woodford Square ultimately on the 7th of June as we celebrate the National Ifa Festival happening on the 7th of June. Mark your calendars. We've got more to add though, so stick around, guys. After this break, we continue here on the Now Morning Show.
I walk with the glory of kings. I walk with the glory of kings. Enough. I cry enough. Enough tears till they dry.